Hi everybody, how are you? It's Mike Andrew, once again providing a short video with practical insights as it applies to business and leadership. One of the many activities I've done over the years in my executive roles is, and I enjoy doing it, it's appointments or interviewing people into senior leadership roles, whether we're interviewing them from the inside for promotion or hiring from the outside. And I want to share with you some specific things that I observe and that I look for, and it's all related to leadership and presence and so forth. So here we go. So number one, whatever you put on your CV or resume, be ready to substantiate and back up anything that you put on your CV. So because I look at it, I study it, and if I see a certain accomplishment, I'll ask them about that accomplishment or achievement and say, tell me more about that. I want to see how they can substantiate that. And then the big question is, what did you do to make that happen? What specifically did you do? And I really push them on what specifically, and what was the result? What was the impact? Oftentimes they'll have a category in their CV that says skills and capabilities. And one of the more common ones is they'll say that they have strong leadership skills. Great. So my question is, what do you mean by that? What type of leadership skills? There are so many. What specifically are your leadership skills? And oftentimes I'll get answers that say, well, leaders should, nope, I don't want to hear should, what a leader should do. What have you done? Tell me what you've done. Give me some examples of that leadership skill that you're talking about. So I really have to push them and make sure that they can substantiate anything that's on their CV. Secondly, obviously what comes up a lot is their career goals or ambitions, and I'll ask them about that. And you'd be surprised what a very high percentage of people will say, I want to be a CEO. And my immediate response is, why? Why do you want to be a CEO? I want to see if they've really thought this through, and most have not thought it through, believe it or not. And I push and I push. One person might say, did say, because I want to be able to influence change. I'm like, okay, well, can't you do that now? Do you have to is the CEO the only one that can influence change? So I push, and you'd be surprised how many people have not thought that question through. So be ready to back up and substantiate. Thirdly, I'll ask, what is it about this company or this particular role that attracts you? And a very common answer is, well, I like challenges. As if that's a rare skill, a rare thing to like challenges. I'm like, no, that doesn't work for me. I mean, everybody is going to say that in an interview. Tell me specifically, what is it about this company and this role that attracts you to have this interview? To say that I love challenges absolutely doesn't work for me. Fourthly, I'll call it filibustering. And sometimes I'll ask a question and you have 1 hour interview and 15 minutes later they're still answering the question. Big no-no. That's filibustering. We've just taken a fourth of the time on one question. And that, to me, is an indicator of not being structured in your thinking, not showing presence, executive presence, and not being aware, self-aware of the fact that you've taken 15 minutes just to answer one question. So be careful. That is not executive presence. Executive presence is just the opposite, being clear, succinct with everything that you're answering to that question. And fifth is, as you start getting into senior leadership, if someone doesn't have any questions about the company or about the role if they're already in the company, because this is a big decision, a big change. It could be a promotion, whether you're from the inside or outside. So it's a big decision. You must have questions. If they don't have questions, it's a major red flag for me, because the ability to ask questions is an example of executive perspective. It's an example of executive presence, having confidence to ask questions, even the basic or dumb questions. I look for that. That's very, very important. Good executives are very good at asking questions. I've always said that board members are very good at asking questions. They have to get caught up on the business. All this aside, this is all about leadership, your leadership and your aspiration to get into more senior leadership. And you've heard in previous videos that there's so many ways to describe leadership. So for me, to keep it short, a leader consistently steps up and takes the initiative And a good leader consistently achieves results and drives performance and does it with integrity, humility, and treating people with dignity. Because I feel that the more confidence that a person has, the more they're apt to be humble, to demonstrate integrity, and treat people with dignity. And by the way, I hate the word charisma, but I'll call that charisma. You can be a quiet introvert, but if you consistently drive results or step up, take the initiative, and treat people with dignity and show humility and integrity, I don't care how quiet or extroverted you are, that's my definition of charisma. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.